What's up, history art nut? History art nut. I'm assuming. Welcome. I'm assuming you're familiar with Terence McKenna, right? Which will be very apropos for this channel for sure. Let's see if the light can help. What's up, top? Thanks for joining again today. Hello, everyone on YouTube. Lisa, Colleen, how are you, everybody? Josephina, Chris, Ramon. We're gonna let a few more people coming in. Today is going to be relatively a short episode because I got to go watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a very long time. I'm excited. So maybe today we actually, to all the newcomers, if you don't know, this channel is mostly revolving around the simulation hypothesis. So maybe today we can talk about some theories about the movie The Matrix. No Elon talk. I mean, we can always bring Elon. Yesterday was the Elon talk. Yesterday, to anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about the apparently very contentious subject of Elon Musk, which I guess it also touches on the simulation because Elon is a big fan of that, and apparently a lot of people are not fans of his. What's up, KLZ? Massive simp. To anybody who doesn't know, my name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found proof that we actually live in a simulation, and this channel is usually revolves around this topic. However, we talk about all kinds of big things, fun things, science, philosophy, religion, spirituality, Elon Musk, apparently. What's up, Deborah? And today, since I'm going to watch a movie, maybe we can talk about the movie The Matrix and see if there's any fun things that we can discuss about the philosophy of the film. Any way to say what size the symbols are? Seeing a code. Hey, Eric Doggin. Wait, I thought you asked it yesterday too. Yeah, they're tiny. In the beginning, you see them as very, very tiny. And then as your eyes get used to it, you see it with more and more detail, and you see it also with a different size. You see actually bigger structures. Hello, everyone. Why do you ask about the size, by the way? Oh, yeah, and if you guys don't mind, maybe we give a few likes to the chat just so we have a few more people going. Again, to anybody who doesn't know, you can watch my videos on the subject, but basically, I'm proposing that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you're under the influence of a particular molecule that I cannot name on the live chat, you will see code running in surfaces. And this observation has now been replicated over 1,000 times worldwide. And here we are. A lot of fun things coming up in the next year. A documentary about the subject, in which I'm interviewing some scientists, kind of following the story. And surprisingly to me, we're also there's also some discussion going on with people that I guess you would call more in the spiritual awakening field, even though I never expected to be, conversing with that side of things. But apparently it is relevant, and apparently that's a real thing that is happening. And to some people, it's obvious. To other people like myself, it was not obvious at all. Even though I was very open to all, the entire spiritual pursuit, it was still something that was reserved for the hypothetical to me, not to something that actually happens. Terminator is the prequel to The Matrix. John Connor initiates JC's belief for Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, the Jesus element was never a secret. I think the one, the savior, all that stuff. I mean, it was pretty clear that Neo technically is Jesus, right? And then Zion has biblical implications. The whole thing, honestly, is there's this guy who does a bunch of breakdowns of films, and he had this one theory in which Neo is actually not the one, Agent Smith is, which is interesting because he basically checks all the boxes, and Neo checks only some of the boxes. Because I think one of the things was that the one was supposed to be of the Matrix, which Agent Smith was, and Neo was not, because I guess is an external thing that is injected into the Matrix. There was a few other things there, but then he kind of follows the trajectory of the logic of the story, and it all of a sudden makes sense that Agent Smith was always the one, and the function of Agent Smith was, to, in the end, to actually go back, become part of the code of the Matrix, and then reset it, and that's actually what reset the Matrix. And it's kind of hard to decide because towards the end, as you guys remember, they kind of both merge and explode, right? So it's not really clear who influenced whom, or maybe it was the combination of these things. I found it very interesting. One of the things that I did mention in the chat before, and so anybody who heard it, apologies for repeating it, but I think it's interesting, is that in the end of the second Matrix, when the architect meets Neo, or Neo meets the architect, as if you are deep. Talking about 90s movie as if you are deep. Well, actually, the second Matrix and the third Matrix was in the 2000s. So I'm talking about the 90s plus the 2000 films, as if I'm deep. So get your facts straight, man. Is SD stands for what I think it does? Um, so anyway, so when he met the architect in the second one, the architect basically tells him, right? He tells him, Neo tells him, just make sure that we never meet again, right? And then the architect tells him, well, we won't, right? That's what he says. Now, the architect is a perfectly calculating machine, which means that he does not make any mistakes. However, in the end of the third one, they technically do meet. Now, there's some contention whether or not that was the architect that is kind of rising at the end and kind of meeting Neo. But I would assume that whatever it is, clearly the architect knows about it, right? He's the mastermind behind the whole thing. So whatever happens at the end has to involve the architect to some extent, which means that he was wrong, and he was wrong because of choice, because of human choice. That's completely unpredictable. So I thought it was interesting. I've never heard anybody ever talk about it, but I do think that that was a significant thing. I don't know if they meant to put it in there or not. Neo was an avoidable of consequences of allowing free will. Yeah, basically, right? The free will, the choice. Like he said, the problem is choice, which I think is really the main. Hey, Cal, how you doing, man? Talking about the movie The Matrix because I'm gonna go watch a movie today, so I figured that would be a good topic to raise. Neo was unavoidable and unavoidable. I see. Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, this is something that the architect explained, but the architect said with full certainty that they will not meet again. That's what stood out about it to me. That the architect did mention the fact that despite the mathematical precision, they could not figure out what would be the world that humans brain will not reject, because in the beginning they tried to do like a utopia kind of world and it didn't really work, and then they realized that humans require this imperfect balance of an open-ended system that allows them to make all kinds of decisions and make their own mistakes. Wait, let me close this. But in the end, it doesn't say, according to my calculations, it's unlikely that we're going to meet again. He says with full confidence, we won't, which is why it stood out to me. But you realize, Eric Doggin, you realize that Neo was planned. So, like, according to the architect, he was planned, right? The code of the one is always injected back into the matrix, and then it reemerges at the right time, right before they destroy Zion, and then it kind of repeats again. And actually, at the end of the third one, it's not very clear if they, in fact, reset the system in a way that is now truly different, or is it just one more round. Now, I don't know if anybody here saw the fourth one. I kind of felt like I was obligated to, so I went to see it. I honestly think that, and it was. I don't know if anybody knows, but wait, let me make sure I'm not missing any cool comments. It was always meant to be, but he made decision symbolic for free will. Humans for batteries. The only plot hole. I mean, there's a lot of plot holes. I mean, there would be no movie without some of the things, some of the way that they set it up. Obviously, so it's okay. It's forgivable. The movie is great. However, the human battery thing, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like it would make more sense to use humans as computational nodes, right? So to use their brains as computational points, which would make much more sense. But I think in '99 when the movie came out, I don't know if enough people knew about computers to understand what computational nodes mean or anything like that. So I think batteries was the easier choice. But also, I mean, the obvious is also kind of like a plot issue, which is that technically the machines did the most ethical thing they could, considering the fact that that's the only solution they found, which also wouldn't make any sense because why can't they leave the Earth again? But whatever. Um, but also, if let's say that is the only solution, I mean, creating a world that the human mind can accept and therefore live technically freely in and have the same kind of choices that they can make in the regular world, that's the most ethical thing you can do. Much more ethical than what we do with animals, for example, in a lot of cases, right? And in fact, I would say that I don't really see what was this obsession with the real world, right? Like if you like you're as free as what you believe yourself to be in the moment when you're experiencing something. So in that sense, the Matrix is a much better option than living the way that they kind of lived in Zion. So that's another plot hole. People had a hard time understanding the movie in '99. I had to explain it to a couple of friends. Yeah, definitely. So, anyways, what I was saying about the fourth one, I don't know if anybody here has seen it, but so first of all, a little behind the scenes. Basically, as far as I know, they made some kind of a deal. They were obligated under some kind of a contract to produce this fourth one, and only one of the Wachowskis decided to go ahead and do it or something like that. Uh, and from what I understood, they really didn't want to do it. Whomever one of them that was supposed, they really didn't want to do it, and you could see it. It was basically like a giant middle finger. Honestly, the movie was just we could have done without the fourth one. I think it was there was this attempt to, and also it had all these like woke elements. I'm like, dude, can we just have a movie without this stuff? Like, put anybody you want in it. They can be whatever, but don't put them just because they're this or that. That was ridiculous. But anyway, in the fourth one, basically, they do go through this. Okay, now the cycle was basically the same. Now they have to break it for real this time. So essentially, in the third one, I don't think they actually changed anything. But I do like this idea that the Agent Smith, because it's interesting. It would be an interesting discovery to make later that Agent Smith is the one and it wasn't Neo. Because nobody said that the one has to be like this, like, aiming towards the good. The only function of the one was to reset the system the proper way and to make free choices, which then Agent Smith learned how to do. Even the architects had to leave a free will because it wouldn't work. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the plot originally. I know their last name obvious, but I do think they're genius. The Wachowski, yeah, I mean they're definitely geniuses. There's no question about it. But the fourth film was just like it was obviously they don't want to do it, and I think only one of them was actually participating in making the film. Which then they were already the Wachowski sisters, or did one of them go back? I never know. I should probably look it up. Did one of them go back to being a man? Because they both switched to being women, right? Yeah, the fourth wasn't great at all. Um, and they just try to cram everything. I do like what's his name, the guy who played the main bad guy in the fourth. I do like this guy; he's a good actor. But there's something very profound about the ending of the. Oh, it was the third one, right? Right when they fight. When that's well, listen. Hugh Laurie. No, Hugh Laurie. That's Doctor House. What am I talking about? What's his name? The guy who plays Agent Smith. He's Australian. What's his name? Forget his name. But he's amazing. He really. I think he's the one that actually made. I wouldn't be surprised that he's supposed to be the one. Also because he really made the films what they are. He's the greatest thing in the film. And that last scene where he's like, why, Mr. Anderson, why? It's such a good scene. It's so powerful. Hugo Weaving, thank you. I knew there was something with an H. Cal, you're always so quick with the names. That's awesome. I forget. I'm so terrible with names. I understand. So he's the same guy that played V for Vendetta, right? Because they needed someone whose voice acting is flawless. Matrix is the best, no question about it. Hugo Weaving is amazing. Yeah, he really made the whole film work, I think. What other speech did he give that was also in the Matrix that was amazing? That third one, and then there was one more. I mean, it was obviously the one that when he's torturing Morpheus, but that wasn't that. That wasn't the one that was powerful. I'm trying to remember what it was. Can't remember right now. But I think Hugo Weaving is amazing. The Matrix is when it came out. I remember going to watch it like 3 times in the theater. It was such a mind bender at the time. Now it's just like simulation. Little did I know that I'm going to be interacting with the simulation idea in the way that I do now. And in many ways, it's very surprising because I like the idea in the movie, but like I said yesterday, I don't like the idea in terms of how unneat it is. It makes things more complicated for no reason because it opens this infinite window of possibilities that is arbitrarily can be placed there. Baby, are you drunk? Wait. I love the the Maravinci. Maravinci. Wasn't the punchline there that his wife is the main person that holds the key that holds the opening the gate. Whoa. Get off, Cosmo. A trickster. Yeah, the Matrix definitely needed a trickster. Well, I guess again, I think the trickster would throw a different spin there, and I think that Agent Smith was enough of the balanced character. But then, yeah, basically, also another thing I can say about the films is that people always say that the second and the third one were awful. I think that's actually a product of misunderstanding what the films are. So, like, the first one was the discovery. You can't really have the discovery again. That's just a magical moment you can't have again. Unfortunately, that's which is also something that I'm very aware when I'm, showing people the laser. I'm like, look, you can't really go back. You gotta kind of have to be dramatic there. And the second one was basically a kung fu film. I think it was an homage to all the martial arts film. And then the third one is a war film. So they're just different movies. They're almost like different genres of movies. And the third one, as a war film, stands really well. The drama of the battles, the stakes are ultimate. So like annihilation. So it's a great war film. And the second one is a great action film, especially when they go see the Merovingian with the two ghosts, the twins with the blades and all that stuff. It's a great fight scene film. And there was actually something that I watched by this expert in editing. I think she's like a editing professor, which I don't know why you would go get a PhD in editing, and she was talking on this channel about editing, and she said something interesting. She said that, wait, was it the same? Anyways, doesn't matter. I heard it in one of the kind of like editing theories, and they explained that the reason that the first Matrix is so great, one of the reasons, is that all the action is embedded in the plot. And what happens in a lot of films is that what they would do is they would pause the film, have an action scene, and then the scene will continue, and then the movie will continue. So it's like, ha, I'm here, and then they would fight, and the fight is just kind of like, you know, there's just a fight. There's a lot of action, a lot of explosions, and then they go back to the plot, go back to the film. But in the first Matrix, they masterfully embedded the action with the film. You know, that the first one of the first like really big action scenes where they have like, when they go Morpheus fighting Neo, right? Or yeah, Morpheus fighting Neo, and then they go into the everybody runs to see it. So there's something about the fact that Morpheus is teaching him, and it's like this big thing that everybody wants to see. So all of a sudden, they're not just fighting. There's philosophy involved. There's actual stakes, and every single action scene in the first Matrix is embedded in this way. In the second movie, you don't have that. In the second movie, you actually have this separation where you have the, fight, movie, fight, movie. So that was the only. But I think that because they were relying on how much money they spent on the fight scenes, uh, all the Matrix fans will probably know this, but basically they either built or rented like a whole um, airport, like an actual like a speedway track, and like a giant one. I think they built it if I'm not mistaken, and then that's where they crashed all the cars and they did all the race and all that stuff. So because they leaned so heavily into building the stuff for that scene, a lot of the film was just basically they really wanted to showcase what they did, and that's where it's easy to get carried away and forget that you're actually trying to also tell a story, which is the thing that people really care about. And then you kind of forget that that's quite literally lose the plot. And I think that's what they could have done better in the second one. But in the third one, the war scenes, if you look at it as at the third one as a war movie, it works perfectly. um let's see. uh, uh Cut to exhibition, yeah. Basically not even an exhibition, it's just a fight scene. So you really think you muscles have anything to do with how strong, oh yeah, yeah, fast you are in here. The kid carrying the ammo, oh yeah, 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 the little what's his name, Mouse. Oh no, that was a different kid. Yeah, yeah, that was a kid that was introduced in the second one, right? My Jesus. No. Very fun. I am the one, definitely not. And thank you, Chase. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to a moderator. And yeah, so like I said, today I'm gonna unfortunately have to do like a super short episode just because I have to go watch a movie. Well, have to. I'm excited to go watch a movie. We haven't seen like a film in a theater in a long time. I'm gonna go watch something super light, Inside Out 2. Really like the first one. It's really good. My Day is great. I'm not sure. Shadehead? Shithead. My day is wonderful. How's your day? I honestly don't. I know that I actually showed the laser to a few people that have never seen the film, but it's so rare, right? It's one of these films that just like literally everybody has seen. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Cheathead. I wish I could refer to you differently, but that's your handle. Ex Machina is great. Film noir, obviously, but very, very good. You'll probably be quick with that name as well, Kel. What's the guy's name? The one that plays the genius. He's really good too. The guy. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day as well. Yeah, Ex Machina is also a nice mind bender. Again, film noir, they always kind of leave you with this heavy feeling slightly, but I do like this film. What other films I like from this genre? I really like the part in Ex Machina where he shows him the painting, and he says that, like, notice that this what seems to be completely chaotic in the painting, it has to start with a decision, so you have to participate to some extent to execute the decision, and then you just go with the flow. So it's the combination of going with the flow and the decision that is giving rise to the painting. Watch the Men from Earth and our a voyage to Arcturus. Gotta go. Have a good one. Thanks, Eric Doggin. See you tomorrow. Men from Earth. Have I ever had a cavity? That's a strange question. Hey, Kel, what's the guy's name? The main guy from Ex Machina, the actor. He's also in a lot of things. He's awesome. By the way, for this upcoming week, any people you guys want me to potentially interview, either people that are creators on TikTok or maybe even known people, because I can always try and reach out, and sometimes things like that work out. Isaac, wait, Isaac, it's the actor's name or Oscar Isaac, or is that the character's name? By the way, I'm a big because I'm an editor. I really nerd out on all the movie stuff. I don't know if you saw how they break down the way they constructed the narrative of Ex Machina, and that whole scene in the beginning. Apparently, the the script included, I think, like 3 or 4 pages of dialogue between the helicopter pilot and the guy who he picked to go to the island, and they kind of go back and forth. But then in the movie, I don't even know if they shot the whole thing, but the decision was made that all they're gonna do is he's gonna look outside, he's gonna say, "When are we there?" And then the pilot will say, "Oh," he's gonna laugh and say, "Well, we have been flying inside for the last hour," or something like that, which cut the entire 3 pages of the dialogue because the point is delivered. So now we understand that whatever it is, wherever it is that they're going, it's a huge place that belongs that somebody owns, which means they're very wealthy, very powerful, and very secretive. So all of these things were included just by cutting all the 3 pages of dialogue, which is essentially exposition, just by having these 2 lines, which is incredible. I just love when filmmaking is masterful like that. I have a cavity and stuff gets stuck in a little hole all the time. I thought you should know. I appreciate it. Distraught. That is a great word. I like the word distraught. I mean, it's not a good state, but the word is great. Just hit up Joe Rogan. Dude, I should get mad. I should get again. Wait, get my get. I don't know what that means. You're talking to me, Chase? That should hit up Joe Rogan. Yeah, well, I mean, Joe at this point is like one step removed, but I believe in the organic um, process. So I'm pretty sure it will happen when it's supposed to happen. Oscar Isaac. Oh, right. He is great. Yeah, Joe would love this idea. He would vibe with it. The only thing is that, I mean, Joe would have to see the laser, right? But considering the fact that at least, I mean, I have my conviction, and I'm claiming that it is in fact the case that we live in a simulation. Like, but for me, it's not a hypothesis; it's a fact at this point. So I would assume that also it has some kind of an organic process that is supposed to occur. And I don't know if what I found is an anomaly or it was supposed to be part of the whatever was there. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that whatever is supposed to happen is supposed to happen in an organic way. So I'm pretty sure Joe will get the wind of it when it's proper. Oh, Joe, yeah, he will definitely do it. Oh, Duncan, I told you that's my dream. Going on Duncan is actually is my dream. Duncan is so great. And actually, Joe Rogan's rant, I said this yesterday and a few other times, was actually what got me into the molecule originally. When you can look up, you can just Google Joe Rogan, the molecule's name, rant, Ohio radio show. It's like a 10-minute rant. It's amazing. How the fuck am I gonna talk about this? It's so good. That's what got me into it originally. I was like, what is that? I gotta know what that is. And then I got into Terrence McKenna, South Speedy 965, and then I got into all that stuff. I was vibing with it hard from the beginning. It's almost like my psyche knew. And this is why I'm assuming that there was part of it that was supposed to happen, because I was drawn to just hearing about this thing originally right away before I could even get my hands on the stuff. Talking about it got me look up the Netflix doc. Oh, that was way before the next Netflix doc when I heard of it. I think it was like 2008. Yeah, McKenna. I honestly think, and I'm not exaggerating, I think I listened to every single thing Terrence ever said. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm pretty sure that I got close to it. Literally, I would listen to like 10-hour recordings of Terrence, and I would just like listen to it for days. Like every time I'm in the car, just put it back on. Every time I'm cleaning the house, put it back on. Terrence was so instrumental in even thinking in this direction, or having the courage to think in that direction. I don't know if you read this one. Where is it? Did I leave it in the car? Is the book in there in the book, babe? Oh, weird. I thought I took it. Oh, here it is. It's by Dennis. It's an interesting one. It's by his brother. And it's about their, I mean, he talks a lot about their childhood, but he also talks, the majority of it, he gets into like La Chorrera and what happened to them there. Fascinating book. Well, Terrence was like so ahead of his time, it's not even funny. Like sometimes he would say, what's the name of this clip? Let's see. Terrence McKenna art. The cat that walked all by himself. Let's see if Google is good at this. We don't have to fit one. I can't find it right now, but there's a clip of him talking about us creating subversive art with a tool that was technically originally invented to spy on us, i.e., by the CIA, the internet, and he basically talks about how eventually we'll be able to utilize that tool to create infinite art that will lift culture out of its demise. And the whole clip now on YouTube, you can find it, and it's all filled with Mid-Journey images. So like the fact that he was like he could see these things way before they happened is so mind-blowing to me. Interesting. I discovered it from Terrence first, then discovered Jerry. I still listen to Terrence. Yeah, when I heard Joe rant about it, it was before he had the podcast. It was like 2008. I think it was a year before he even had the podcast. It's one of the things he said in early 90s we can relate to. Yeah, what's the name of the book? The Brotherhood in the of the Screaming Abyss. Oh, thank you, Chase. I'm way behind. Yep, Brotherhood of the Screaming Abyss. It's really good. I recently got to actually, well, not personally chat to Dennis, but I was on the same chat that Dennis was on because he was promoting the book, and I got to exchange a couple of words with him. But I feel like Dennis is already, I feel it's interesting. Like you would think that all these giants of the field. I mean, Terrence will definitely. I'm pretty sure would still vibe with with the whole laser stuff. But I feel like Dennis, especially after what happened in La Chorrera, he really kind of got off that horse in the way that Terrence was looking at it, and he was more entertaining it in ways of a gentle guide or things like that. I think he stopped playing with the idea that that space is real, because something happened to him in his mind that he was just like, whoa, okay, I got to get off that train. You know what I mean? It's a lot to take in, especially when he was that young. I think he was 19 when that happened to him, when he lost his mind there in La Chorrera. And what's interesting is it was clear to me that I'm not really sure that this is necessarily a thing that would vibe with Dennis too much, just because he's done. Like he's done. This is like he just wants to have his quiet time. He doesn't want to play with the wild ideas anymore so much. Yeah, Dennis definitely had a crazier experience personally, but that's why Terrence stayed obsessed with it, because he only observed it from the outside, and Dennis got a personal taste out of it, and that's why he got off that train. It's a lot. Like I can only imagine what happened to him there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many of you know what happened there, but basically, Dennis lost his marbles completely for weeks, almost a month, maybe more, and then it took him like a few months to fully recover. But I haven't finished the book yet, so I don't. I only read it. I only read the details in Terrence's book, True Hallucinations. Was it in True Hallucinations? It was, right? May not dive back in. Yeah, but we'll probably still find it interesting. Yeah, and again, I know a couple of people that know him personally, but I do believe that it needs to be organic. Like chasing it feels wrong. Chasing it like feels like you're overstepping some kind of a rule here. Terrence would always want to bring something proof back. Maybe it's already here. Well, it is here. I'm claiming. It's just a question of how do you fold it into everything else that we know, which is this is why I'm trying to divorce this idea from psychedelics in general, but also from even the word substances, like trying to get it out of the realm of that, because we're just exploring reality. Because if the claim is that it is reality, then you have to get it out of this way of talking about it, because then it doesn't belong in the same sphere of interest for quote unquote serious scientists. And I think in order to get the right minds interested, you got to put it in the right box, so they'll be willing to open it and interact with it. One thing that I actually found really interesting about my own interaction with this stuff and talking about this stuff, yeah, and actually this is good research for me, because I'm writing a movie about that, what happened to them in La Chorrera, and I thought it would be a great research book. It came out right on time. And Dennis's side is definitely adding beautiful flavor. Terrence would always want. So one of the things that was interesting to me talking about this stuff is that I discovered maybe a year ago, as I was researching some stuff for the film, is that Terrence actually smoked 24/7, basically. Like he woke up, ripped a bong right away, every single day, or a joint. Like there was not one day that he didn't start his morning by smoking a bunch of weed, and he got him into the flow. And me and weed, we kind of said we each gonna stay on our own side way back. Not because it does anything necessarily too negative for me. It's just that it doesn't teach me that much anymore. It stopped teaching me at about 26, which is a while ago. And then I still did it a few times, but every time I would do it, it can be like relaxing and interesting. But then the next day, I feel so lethargic. I call it a will killer. Like I just don't want to do anything. I just don't care, and I can't afford to not care. So I don't partake. So for me, weed is something that I don't have like a close relationship with on a regular basis. So it was always interesting to me how he could just maintain his energy and always be in that space. But I guess each mind is different, and he it really gave him juice and it gave him inspiration. But the reason I'm thinking about it is because one time I was talking about this stuff with somebody, and we just did a big K session, like a it was like a big K session. We did like I don't know like a good gram and a half, like lozenges, and melted into the floor. And then I also took some gummies. And then after we came out of it, I started talking about the laser stuff and about some philosophical things. And all of a sudden, I saw this window open. And I think I saw that place where Terrence was talking from, because all of a sudden, everything, like the articulation was so perfect and everything just fell right into place. It was such a flow. And I was like, oh, wow, what a fountain of wisdom that I get to ride here right now. And I can totally see how if he found a way to just tap into that every day, that was the magic. And Terrence always said that when he only later when he listened to his own tapes, which he actually didn't do that often, he understood why people found it interesting. Originally, he said that he found it bizarre that people found it that interesting, because he said, I don't know, I was just talking. I didn't feel like something profound was happening. But as we all know, a lot of it was very profound. Some Terrence McKenna quote, they're so powerful. Actually, that I really want to find that clip for you guys so you can YouTube it. It's so good. It's called oh, I gotta switch accounts and stuff. Never mind. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do it, because then it can mess up the flow, the live. Harmon House. But the part of that part of that talk, Terrence, what did he say? He said, "Oh, we are a mystery suspended between two eternities." Isn't it crazy? It's just, man, what I wouldn't give to meet this man. Can you imagine just having an evening with Terrence? And I'm pretty sure you can do it with ChatGPT, but it's not the same. I mean, like with the person, with the energy of the person and everything. Not even, I'm not even talking about smoking with him. Just having a chat, having Terrence on your podcast. Wow, what a dream. Okay, so we're getting close to the time where I gotta bounce to watch a movie. So, like I said today, oh, and look at that, 42:42. So maybe a good time to actually close this one. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining for today. Today's I'm going to watch a movie in a moment, and tomorrow we'll reconvene for a regular episode. Probably going to be around the same time, about 5 p.m., 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks, Chase. Yeah, I felt like today we were just riffing, suspended between eternities via YouTube. Basically. I'll find the clip for tomorrow and I'll give you the name of it. It's so good. All right, everybody. Peace and love, and we'll chat tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. See you, YouTube. I don't know who was here today, but thank you for always joining. I really appreciate you, and see you tomorrow. Hi, baby.